On this episode of Cape Media News, we follow the Housing Assistance Corporation during their 10th annual Big Fix-A-Thon in Barnstable. We go inside Cape Cod Tech Council's First Friday breakfast to learn about public access TV and celebrate community media with a look back at 2 award-winning segments. These stories and more, this is Cape Media News. This is Cape Media News, your local authentic newscast for Cape Cod. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. Thank you for joining us. Cape Cod saw heavy rains and strong winds this week as part of a nor'easter that's been lingering off the east coast since Wednesday, October 9th. At its peak, wind gusts were measured at 40 to 50 miles per hour, and as of this morning, gale warnings were still in effect. Although no power outages have been reported, the National Weather Service says continued rains and high winds over the weekend will make boating conditions hazardous. Conditions should return to normal by Monday afternoon with sunshine and a high of 61 degrees. The Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative held its 2nd annual Net Zero Cape and Islands Roundtable Conference yesterday in Hyannis. The conference included hundreds of climate action leaders and policymakers from state and local government, as well as business, environment, renewable energy, transportation, science, and faith communities to discuss the best practices and strategies to achieve a carbon-neutral footprint on the Cape and Islands. United States Senator Edward Markey was in attendance and spoke on the importance of local action to combat climate change. To learn more about the Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative, visit them online at capecodclimate.org. Well, they say that giving often feels better than receiving. The Housing Assistance Corporation held its 10th annual Big Fix-A-Thon last weekend, drawing more than 350 volunteers to raise money and make needed repairs on more than a dozen homes in Barnstable. I had the chance to witness this outpouring of community support for myself. Cape Media News reports. Most will agree there's no better feeling than giving back. The Housing Assistance Corporation held its 10th annual Big Fix-A-Thon in Barnstable this year to do just that.
So today is our Big Fix, which is a culmination of hundreds of volunteers coming together, coming out to our locals, homeowners who are in need of some repair at their home. And they're usually, seniors, veterans, people maybe low income and disabled who can't get the work done. We all have that honey-do list or that long list of chores that we need done in order to keep our house up. So these people, things have gotten behind, right? They're not in a position to pay for it, or they don't have a spouse or a partner that can help them. And so we gather community members to come out and do the work. And it is really quite impressive. The transformation at some of the homes is just incredible.
HAC helps more than 5,000 households each year through homeless prevention, housing stabilization, and empowerment. The Big Fix-A-Thon supports their work by raising funds, providing assistance to veterans, seniors, and disabled homeowners with cleanups, landscaping, and small home repairs.
Just we're overwhelmed by all the, everything that's been done for us.
I think to a degree we're speechless, but we're humbled by the experience and by the outpouring of affection and willingness to come to somebody's house and do this kind of stuff, which would take us forever. We'd probably never even get to it, to tell you the truth.
It's going to give me peace of mind because my husband's been disabled for the last several years and he hasn't been able to do things. So a lot of projects have fallen through the cracks.
It hasn't been a home, it's been a wreck. And the only home is my bedroom because that's the only room that's really done. And the rest of it has just been a total chaos. And now at least I'll have some organization, some calm area that I can relax, finally. That'll be great.
The event also offers meaningful hands-on experience for the hundreds of people who volunteer.
You just see the joy of not just the homeowner, but of the people that get to come and help. It really makes a difference.
People look forward to the Big Fix Day all year because it's a great chance to get out, put your skills to use and help a friend.
It's really tremendously important to us to give back to the community and give back to the people that need it. And being a part of the home building community here on Cape Cod, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that everyone has affordable housing and can use the housing they have.
You know, everybody needs help at some point in their life. I did when I was younger, and now these folks need some help, and I'm just thrilled to be part of this group and come out and help out this morning. It's just a great feeling.
What we give is very little compared to what we receive back.
400 people donating their time on a beautiful Saturday is amazing, and it says a lot about the Cape and the community that's here.
This year's Big Fix-A-Thon changed the lives of more than 16 grateful homeowners. Next year's event will take place in Orleans, and there's still plenty of time to get involved.
I would encourage anyone, even if you don't have any skills in framing or carpentry, to come out because it doesn't take much to run a rake and help these folks out.
Yay, Big Fix!
The Housing Assistance Corporation's Big Fix-A-Thon was held on Saturday, October 5th, in Barnstable. For Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson. And if you live in Orleans and have some home repairs that you need help with, or if you'd like to volunteer with the Housing Assistance Corporation, organizers are already busy preparing for next year's Big Fix-A-Thon. You can learn more at hackoncapecod.org. Up next, building community with Public Access TV.
Hello. I'm Danielle Jeanlot, Executive Director of the Atwood Museum in Chatham. We invite you to become a part of a community where history, art, and culture meet to explore life in a historic New England town. With 14 exhibits and 12 galleries, our museum offers memorable experiences for all ages, including hands-on exhibits. Located close to downtown Chatham on Stage Harbor Road, the Atwood Museum is open year-round with a variety of lectures, special events, rental space, and research opportunities. We combine education with fun as you learn about colonial life, shipwrecks, the fishing industries, art, literature, and much more. From bell ringing and scavenger hunts for the kids, to video displays, docent tours, and comfortable seating areas. Plan on spending 2 to 3 hours with us. Visit, join, volunteer, and donate to the Atwood Museum, home of the Chatham Historical Society. For more information, visit our website or find us on social media.
Have you ever wanted to host your own TV show? Well, you can, thanks to public access television. For nearly 50 years, community media centers around the country have worked to provide the public with the tools and training they need to create their own original content. But do community media centers have the know-how to keep up with the changing times? The Cape Cod Community Media Center, where this show is filmed, seems to think so. The Media Center was invited to present a talk last week called Not Your Grandma's Public Access at the Cape Cod Technology Council's First Friday Breakfast in Hyannis. Emily Tulloch reports.
The Cape Cod Community Media Center is no longer your grandma's public access TV station, according to their presentation given at the Cape Cod Technology Council's First Friday Breakfast. Public access has long served as a place for community members to share their ideas and opinions on a televised platform. But there are also outlets for discussing community organizations and events, as well as teaching people how to create their own media content. The Media Center's presentation included a breakdown of what public access is, the services they offer, and how they're keeping up with rapidly changing technology.
So I was helping give a presentation today about the Cape Cod Community Media Center and about how we're adapting to new technology and trying to remain relevant in a digital world. It's harder to keep people engaged and coming into the Media Center. So we're really trying to diversify our offerings so that people are still interested and still want to participate. So we're doing that with things like podcasting. We have new equipment for that. We're also offering more updated equipment so some of our members can make higher value productions. Public access is important to the community because we give everyday people the tools to have a voice.
I am the training coordinator at the Media Center, so I teach the 3 basic classes, so basic studio, basic field, and basic editing. What I provide to the community is the opportunity for them to televise their opinions, to exercise their freedom of speech.
The mission of the Media Center is to build community through media. They service the towns of Barnstable, Chatham, Yarmouth, Dennis, and Harwich. Becoming a member is simple.
So you can become a member anytime. It's $30 a year for an individual, and that gives you access to all of our tools, training, and equipment, and it allows you to play your content on Channel 99.
So for Studio A, we have 3 professional studio cameras, a 3-camera setup, a totally LED professional lighting grid. As for field production, we have a variety of prosumer camcorder kits that members can take out, portable LED light kits, portable Sennheiser microphone kits, and people can go out of a static studio environment and record shows all over the Cape. For editing, we have the entire creative suite. So Adobe Premiere Pro, which is a professional editing application, Photoshop, After Effects for special visual effects, just a huge opportunity for the community to make shows about whatever they want, everything from like a sci-fi movie to a simple talk show.
As more people pull the plug on cable, public access networks across the country are affected.
So we're facing some challenges with our funding especially. So cable companies are losing revenue, and we are actually funded through cable companies who give funds to municipalities and then distribute it to public access stations like ours. So because people are cutting the cord with cable companies, we're getting less funding. But the thing people don't realize is when they cut the cord with cable, they actually no longer have access to watch our channels.
If you're interested in becoming a member at the Media Center, visit capemedia.org for more information. In Hyannis, for Cape Media News, I'm Emily Tulloch.
To attend the next First Friday breakfast, visit cctechcouncil.org. Or if you want to learn more about the Cape Cod Community Media Center, you can visit us online at capemedia.org. Up next, Cape Media News celebrates Community Media Day.
If you think of a library as just a quiet place to get books, you might be surprised to find out about the many services we offer at Cotuit Library, free of charge, 24 hours a day. Our mission is to enhance village life by providing a place where community gathers and all individuals achieve personal growth. When our buildings open, you can browse our collections of books, music, and movies, attend a meeting or book club, listen to a story hour, read the paper, send a fax, shop in the Friends Book Nook, complete a puzzle, check your blood pressure, apply for a job online, get help with your mobile device, or even play the piano. The library's website is always open, so you can travel the world or explore new cuisines through our special databases, grab a book from the Little Free Library, research a project using our virtual reference books, register for a program, buy tickets to a fundraiser, download an audiobook, or put holds on the latest bestsellers. Our Wi-Fi is always on, so you can even sit on our patio or in our parking lot with your laptop and surf the web. We are here to serve you round the clock and to make sure we're accessible to everybody, but we can't do it without your support. Why? The Cotuit Library is an independent, nonprofit library relying upon private donations to supplement government funding. All the good things we provide for the community happen because you invest in us. For more info, to donate, or to become involved, please call 508-428-8141 or visit cotuitlibrary.org. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. Every year, journalists around the world celebrate Community Media Day, an annual event that brings awareness to the importance of free speech and public access television. To celebrate Community Media Day, which happens on October 20th this year, we wanted to share with you two of the Media Center's award-winning segments. The first takes you on board a one-of-a-kind Viking warship, and the second takes you inside the oyster industry. Both segments won second place at the Alliance for Community Media Northeast's Regional Conference and Trade Show this year, and it's our pleasure to share them with you now.
Long before the Mayflower landed on Plymouth Rock, Viking ships were making waves in the Atlantic. Viking seafaring success has long been attributed to their amazing shipbuilding skill. And now, nearly 400 years after the Mayflower sailed into Plymouth Harbor, a Viking warship has docked for a 4-day stopover to give visitors a chance to experience Norse history for themselves.
It's fantastic to come into a historical harbor with a historical ship. It's fantastic.
They are exploring America just as the Viking ancestors did.
The 115-foot Draken, which was built by a group of experienced boat builders, historians, and artists, proved its seaworthiness during Expedition America 2016, when she made the journey from her home port in Norway to Connecticut.
She spent about 1.5 years down in Connecticut, doing repairs, taking tours, and now we are trying to explore, instead of coming to America, we are trying to explore within America.
It became a project because the owner who paid the whole thing, he was very interested in history, and he happens to live close to where Norway was gathered as a kingdom for the first time. And in fact, this boat is named after our first king. So he decided to get the best people in boat builders in Norway to build a ship like this to test the seaworthiness.
We show that this is possible with this ship, to crossing North Atlantic, some of the most dangerous waters around Greenland, and to Newfoundland with an open ship.
People tend to be a bit scared when they start in this boat, but when they see how nice it handles the seas, people get confident in it.
We have about 10 tons of stone on board in order to keep her stable. The idea is that if you would fall over and the boat would heel too much, the stones would just fall out and she would come back again. I was quite surprised when we hit the first storm. We sailed out of Shetland towards the Faroe Islands, and no one really knew how she was going to behave because it's the one design, it's the only ship of its kind, but she did very well.
To get a good crew is very important. We have 34 in the crew, and we're sleeping, 21 can squeeze into the tent, and the rest has to be out in watch, and then we change, and that's a little bit tough, but I like it. We are very pleased to be able to do this.
The 2018 Expedition America tour will travel to at least 14 harbors this year, from the coast of Maine to South Carolina, but they are not ruling out other destinations.
Right now we're thinking about maybe taking the ship through the Northwest Passage as the next adventure, or just taking it around the world. A little bit beyond what the Vikings did, but at the same time that's a little bit what we are about as well. We like to expand the horizons a bit.
Wherever the Draken goes, one thing is certain. It inspires visitors to reflect on the past.
There has been evidence found of permanent Viking settlements in North America. Lonza Meadow up in Newfoundland. There are potential traces of settlements further south than that. A lot of people think that the Vikings even made it to Massachusetts at some point, though we don't have much definitive proof of that.
You've heard that term, you going berserk?
Yes.
The Vikings had a group called the Berserkians, and that's where that term came from, you're going berserk. Because they'd come into towns and they'd just destroy them.
I mean, a lot of people think about violence when you talk about Vikings, of course. There's a lot of that, but I think that there's a lot of other positive sides of the Viking culture as well. Our main mission is more about, inspiring people to take on challenges, think a little bit, around the box or like outside of the box. And I think the Vikings are an example of that. They were really pioneers.
Yeah, they commanded the ocean. They commanded the sea. At that time, they control the ocean.
The Draken warship is headed to both Rockland and Portland, Maine in the coming weeks. For Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.
That award-winning segment was taped during the Drakens 2018 expedition. The ship completed its U.S. tour that year and has since been docked at the world-renowned Mystic Seaport Museum in Connecticut. The Draken hopes to embark on a new expedition in 2020. To learn more, visit drakenhh.com. Well, if Cape Cod is known for anything, it's known for its terrific and fresh seafood. The Cape Cod Community Media Center teamed up with Barnstable's Channel 18 to bring you this next award-winning segment, which is actually part of an educational series they call Movers and Shuckers. Let's watch.
It's fulfilling. I kind of have a little bit of a parental instinct towards these. I mean, people have a tendency to look at oysters and not see them as animals, but that's what they are. They're animals, and it's very, very fulfilling to take something from a baby and be able to tend to it, to nurture it, and to give it the best environment it possibly can, and over the course of years, see it grow and see it do well. Yes, it's hard work, but there's just so many intrinsic benefits that come with it. I mean, look at the location we're in right now. I mean, this is, who wouldn't want to work out here?
What happens is you buy seed from a hatchery, and a hatchery is a completely other part of the industry where a facility will basically start an oyster from spat and grow it into what you see as a product. So what you do is you basically take that small product and you put it into a vessel that contains them to the point where they don't blow away, because they're light like a snowflake when they're real young, and they're just like susceptible to like being taken away in the current. So you keep them in a vessel. There's all different types of gear that people use, but basically from that point you grow it until it gets to be of a size that it can fend for itself, and then they go into trays. And from the point that they're in trays, they get larger to where they're 2.5 inches to 3 inches in size for product to pick up, and then you try to get them out the door and sell them.
Support it. It really does a lot of good, both for the economy and for the environment. I mean, the Cape is famous for its seafood and stuff, but when you go to a restaurant, ask where your oysters are coming from. Are they coming from another state, or are they supporting your neighbor, the farmer down the street who is out here growing his product?
I mean, I think we've seen exactly what happens when the fishing industry goes away. We're known for cod at one time, and now the cod fishery's been completely decimated. And using our hatchery and having these local farmers, we have an industry on Cape Cod that's year-round and has great jobs for people who want to have a family here on Cape Cod.
Over 80% of the seed that's needed on Cape Cod comes from the ARC hatchery, and that's not just for the farmers, that is also for the towns that are using the seed to support the wild and recreational harvest.
So what we're doing at ARC is we're basically taking the life cycle of an oyster and kind of flipping it upside down, more or less. So an oyster typically spawns in July and August, and we begin spawning in February, and that way we can have our seed to the oyster farmer in time for that good growing season of the year. So we'll give them a baby oyster that's, say, the size of a quarter in May, and on average 1.5 years from then they'll be ready for market. And that helps us to get the animals on the farms when algae is most abundant in our waters.
55% of the state's oysters are grown here on Cape Cod. That was worth $14.9 million last year in 2017. And when you factor in all of the shoreside support, so buying equipment, buying seed, and then where the oyster goes in terms of selling it at a raw bar, that's worth over $30 million to the Cape Cod economy.
Cape Media News and the Cape Cod Community Media Center want to thank the Alliance for Community Media for acknowledging all of our hard work here at the Media Center. And we want to thank our viewers for inspiring us to continue to bring you coverage that matters. If you'd like to watch more of the Movers and Shuckers series, you can find it online at capemedia.org. Or to learn more about how you can celebrate Community Media Day with us, visit communitymediaday.com. Well, that brings this week's episode of Cape Media News to a close. Please follow us on Facebook, and thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. For Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.